podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Happy Monday. It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Thank you for joining us. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brennan Riker behind the glass taking care of us. We have a slightly shortened show today, I have been told. So we go to 5 o'clock, a little double dip Monday Night Football. At 5, you can hear coverage starting with the Buccaneers at the Lions. That is a very good game, or should be a very good game. We are live from the First United Bank studio for 2 hours with it. You can join us on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Thoughts, comments, questions, obviously reactions from the weekend. A lot to get to today. You can also call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline. That number is 806-771-0973. If you would like to watch us, you can do so on Fox 34 News Now and also on YouTube. If you need the easiest way to find our page, go to youtube.com/Double T Sports Network. And if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, make sure to follow Double T 97.3 as well. Gus, for the first time this season, we sit here and it is not a Victory Monday. Oh, you got Texas Tech soccer. Victory Monday for Texas Tech soccer. But not for...
Big weekend for them.
Yeah, big weekend for them.
Good road trip.
But obviously, now you are, for the first time in, okay, well, how does this team bounce back?
Well, if you go pound Oklahoma State.
Yeah, step one.
Get your feet under you.
Step one.
Yeah, get your feet under you and have a good week of preparation, man. There's no – I would think that one tiny little part of the motivation here would be to – first, I mean, it's always been about getting to Arlington. Mm-hmm. But perhaps the desire to get a rematch with the Sun Devils. Wouldn't you love to play them again?
And
they spent the year with their little Texas Tech circled on their thing.
You know
on
what's
their
funny?
Schedule. How about we get to circle those dudes on our schedule for about 6 weeks and then pound their ass in Arlington?
You know
what that'd be like that?
You know what's funny?
That's my plan.
I looking, the next day, so yesterday, like looking back to before we played a game, and we're going up and down the schedule, we're doing all the same preseason stuff. And, sitting there and going, okay, well, what were the 3 toughest games on the schedule?
Yeah.
We'd circled, right? I think everyone circled Utah, Arizona State, and Kansas State. But then I get it. You get to the season, and obviously our opinions are going to change. We see these teams play. We get Vegas odds for a reason, stuff like that. And so that doesn't obviously help being frustrated with the loss. But obviously no one's more frustrated than the guys in the building over there, team and coaching staff. But it's interesting because with it, if you're of that ilk, and if you're of if you drop a game, it very well could be Arizona State, and that means that there's a great shot that you do see them again. Well, our opinions are going, back and forth as we see teams. It's like, okay, well, maybe you'll see, if you get there, maybe you'll see BYU. It's like, but Cincinnati, boy, they're undefeated over there. You don't see them at all. And now you sit here on October 20th, and first you just have to go take care of business from here on out. There's zero room for error, but there is a very real shot in play that you do see the Sun Devils again now.
Yep, absolutely, and the opportunities there. I think the best way to think about it might be it's a 5-game season, right? You get 3 of those at home. You got 2 monsters in weeks 2 and 3 of that 5-game stretch, which would be next week and the week after that, BYU at home. And, if you really need something to wrap your brain around it, and I think, Coach McGuire had an interesting little anecdote. He said they had interviewed somebody. I can't remember if he said like this week or recently or somebody, and she was at
I thought he said this week.
Yeah, it was about Ohio State. It was a trainer who was at Ohio State last year as an athletic trainer position, talking about what was the difference. As the season went along, she goes, as the whatever. The reason why they played so well after playing like crap against Michigan.
Yeah, after they lost to Michigan.
They were pissed off. Everyone around there was pissed off. I'm like, well, and then I think he was relating that to everyone around our place is pissed off after this past Saturday. So hopefully that cranks up the energy just a little tiny bit extra. I will say this. I mean, obviously they won the game fair and square, and I thought Leavitt was the best player on the field, and right there with Jalen Tyson, and but they had every dang bounce go their way in that game. There was 3 fumbles loose on the ground that all ended up in their hands, including one where they're going in at the 2-yard line, and one of them pops right into one of their guys' hands. Like, but again, that's I'm just saying, like, they had a bunch of sports luck go their way, and all of that said, we had a chance to win that game and had our best unit on the field with 2 minutes left and couldn't get off the field, and so that story's written. We're the team that gets rushed now. When
How
we
odd
go to
is
your
that?
It's definitely weird, but it's I mean, we've all had fun with the phrasing. The rabbit's got the gun now.
Yeah.
So, and that's fine, but we've also talked about embracing this stuff too, embracing the fact that the bullseye's on us.
Yeah.
And so I think all of that's crystal clear. But again, they had a lot of stuff go their way. Did the Sun Devils, and I'm not even talking about a bad call or this or that. I'm talking about like fumbles, balls hitting the ground and bouncing that way instead of that way. Because if it bounced that way, it's a different story.
I
again,
did like
all
the
of
one
that crap said. I think they had all of that stuff go their way, and we were still got the lead for the first time all day with 2 minutes left.
The one at the goal line. That one where it goes, ends up in the hands of Tyson.
Right.
That was but the one that was Romello Height that pops it out in the open field and then goes like under Lee Hunter and ends up with.
I mean, everybody was hustling to it.
You got to give credit again to Arizona State because there were 2 offensive linemen that were following that play. Sure. But that was like when we're literally there was no words. I didn't yell fumble at my TV. It was just like, like one of those.
Bleep.
Yeah. Come on.
In hockey, that's called puck luck.
Yeah.
That's what they always tell you. Throw the thing at the net, you get a little puck luck. It bounces off my stick and your skate and into the goal. That's kind of the deal there. But again, ASU deserved to win and the whole deal. But I would love to see those dudes again. I would love to see us get to zero in on those cats in Arlington.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Back with more next.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3. Time for the juice, today's top headlines. And we'll start with the current AP Top 25 and the coaches poll after the 26-22 loss to Arizona State. The Red Raiders fall back some. Could have been worse. Still not in a terrible spot by any means, but you're 14th in the AP Top 25. In the coaches poll, you fall back to 15th in the Big 12. That means BYU is now the highest ranked team in the conference. In the AP poll, they're ranked 11th. In the coaches, they are ranked 10th. Now in the top 25, you also have Cincinnati at 21, Arizona State at 24. That in the AP top 25. And then in the coaches poll, Cincinnati 21st there as well. But Arizona State flipped with Michigan. Arizona State right at 25. Of course, that comes with the exit of Utah after a loss to rival BYU over the weekend, which we will get into plenty of the Big 12 slate as well, and what happened this weekend. The media availability was today, and it started out with Kirby Hocutt, who was up there with Joey McGuire, but he was the first one to speak, and the announcement today, no tortillas at all. The official tortilla ban is here. I'm sure
Yeah,
we will get more information with it as the week goes on, as far as, it said, as far as enforcing it and stuff. But what we know from today is if, you do get caught, then you're
Throwing. Caught throwing. Yep.
Then you're banned for all athletics for the rest of the season.
Yep, and I think, I think this is no surprise. It's not like they walked in at 10:30 and went, we ought to do something. I think the messaging, and I told you this late last week, is like, and I was really thinking about it from the perspective of not Kirby speaking, but rather McGuire. I thought, I'm bothered that McGuire has to take 1 second from his game prep to deal with this. And so as soon as I saw Kirby up there at the media availability, just on the following along with it, I thought, you know what? That's genius. That's the athletic director saying to the head coach, I'm dealing with this. Mm-hmm. You stay focused on the team and the game and this press conference and all that. We don't need Joey's attention to be on crowd behavior and all that stuff, short of, if they have to go hand him the mic to go yell something during the game or whatever. With that, I think that's a responsibility of every head coach at every game. Not that hopefully it never happens, but that's the biggest voice in the stadium to get everyone to go, ooh, hey, whoa, coach is mad, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was handled to perfection. The key part of this is just the whole idea that, and Kirby apologized and McGuire both did too, in terms of saying, hey, I thought we could do the opening kickoff and then can it the rest of the way, but that's, we're not going to do that anymore. So this is the ultimate, and this is why we don't have nice things.
Yeah.
So there won't be any tortilla throwing at all. And that may also help with enforcement from the league. If the league sees us, policing it that hard and all that stuff, it may help with $100,000 fines and penalties and whatnot. That they'll treat it as a rogue actor rather than just penalizing the team every time it happens.
Like, you're not even trying. Well, now you're
Well, I mean, if somebody
trying, and you were trying before, right? That was the whole reason why you were working with them. But
but not in the way that they were happy with. And if a kid at the ASU game that you and I are sitting here watching had thrown some crap on the field or whatever, a beer bottle or whatever, probably not going to be a 15-yard penalty right off the jump. Right. But that, especially if they look up there and see police wrestling this dude out, and unfortunately there's going to have to be some of that, and again, hopefully it doesn't come to it, but I think Kirby alluded to that. Like, the last thing we want to do is be mugging fans out of there, but and revoking privileges and all that, because we want it to be a great environment and everybody want to be there, but it makes total sense.
Let's jump to the NFL. How about the Dallas Cowboys over the Commanders, 44-22? That moves them to 3-3-1. Suddenly, that division is getting very, very interesting. Dak Prescott, very good day, 3 touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, really good day. 2 of those 3 touchdowns went to him. They will move on to a matchup with the Broncos, and if we know anything about the Broncos, it's that they can score 33 points in the fourth quarter at any moment. Giants, what are you doing? That was just painful. You can hear that on Sunday starting at 2:30 on Double T 97.3. The other team we host here on these airwaves, the Kansas City Chiefs, they had about as dominant of a day as you'll see. 31-0 over the Raiders. Las Vegas had 3 first downs. Gus, that's not very good.
Nope.
Well, it's really good depending on the team you're looking at. I'm going to go with really good.
I wish I would have been like y'all too at the very beginning of the season. Just said, Chiefs are going to win the division. I tried to be different, and I was like, yeah.
I forgot you took the Raiders.
Yes, I did.
You could have went different with 2 other teams.
I know.
You went with the Raiders.
And I would have been better off if I said the Broncos or the Chargers even then.
I forgot about that.
I think that day I was just kind of like, screw it. What's the worst that could happen? Well, that's not a good football team.
No, it is not. Tonight, we got some Monday Night Football for you. Bucks at Lions at 5, and then the Houston Texans at the Seattle Seahawks, 9 o'clock. Both of those right here on Double T 97.3. 6 o'clock over on 100.7 The Score. It's the High School Fan Zone. That'll feature Estacado Memorial and Liberty. And then at 7:30, Gus, when that show is done, they will hand it off right to the American League. It's Game 7. Will this be on your TV?
Yeah,
Toronto
absolutely.
hosting Seattle.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
very, very fun.
That's why
The other series did not do this at all, but we got one of them.
Yeah, that's
Two
why there
remotes,
are
two thumbs, big boy.
two very different scenarios here, but that's why there's 2 smaller TVs instead of 1 larger TV there to my avail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how it's going to go tonight.
If you were wondering, the other series, well, the Dodgers swept the Brewers, but the Brewers scoring exactly 1 run in every single game of that series.
Mercy. Yeah, and then just how explosive that offense is, and they were balky a little bit this year in their pitching staff and starting rotation and whatnot. And you look back on it like, that was I'm not saying those dudes weren't hurt, but it just set up for the perfect kind of load management. Like it was CU dudes in October. That was what the Dodgers were saying to everybody. Just get us into the dance, and we'll take care of this. And mercy, they have just steamrolled the competition. And Ohtani didn't hit at all until the final game of the season. Until the final game of the series. And we talked about all this on Friday. But just what a game for the ages that was. And meanwhile, the Blue Jays and Mariners are just slugging it out. And I've seen many a situation like this where one team was dominant and cruised through the deal, and another team was in a 7th game slugfest, fight for their life, and that slugfest team ended up winning. It's like the fight just continued into the thing. But mercy, I would not want to be facing these cats right now. The Dodgers are loaded.
One more for you on the way out. JT Toppin, AP preseason All-American.
Yeah, first teamer.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it is. It really is, because that's as many good players as we've had around here over the years. We haven't had many first teamers like that.
We will get some thoughts and comments on the other side. Keep them coming on the H. Flooring Center chat line. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brennan Riker behind the glass, taking care of us. We will go to 5 o'clock tonight. Slightly shorter program. Monday Night Football game 1 of 2 will take off at 5 o'clock. Bullfighter had this on the H. Flooring Center chat line where you can hit us up as well. I'm still taking tortillas and throwing them at the 97.3 setup, especially at that guy named Clint Scott.
Yeah, they throw them outside. Yeah, it's good.
Especially if they have, barbacoa, some rice and beans mixed in, and then
just throw
foil on the outside. Yeah, throw it at the stage.
Fire a whole burrito at Clint.
With
all on it.
Well,
just
foil
everything.
wrapped around it too.
Good.
And
Clint
then if you
will
want to
catch it
slide
with
me
his mouth.
if you want to slide me a side of salsa as well, it'd be much appreciated. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. It did suck dropping the first game of the year, but as long as we're all still friends, that's all that really matters. BYU has an easy schedule besides us the rest of the way. So the schedule that I went to go look at wasn't BYU's because, you obviously have the chance to get the tiebreaker on them, right? Like, there's a ton of pressure on that game. There already was going to be, but now that's magnified obviously by a lot. But BYU,
So BYU at Cincinnati's a cakewalk. Is that what I'm being told here?
So BYU at Iowa State.
That's the easy game. Is that what I was just told there by the texter?
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 teams tied for first place. That's the easy one. Is that what the text? Am I misinterpreting that?
No.
Okay.
Well, so look, they're at Iowa State. I don't know what to think of the Cyclones right now, but either way, that game's in Ames. Obviously, they're here, home against TCU. I don't know what's going on. TCU's so back and forth right now.
And
and
never
then
know. They could TCU could throw for 500 yards or get beat by 30. I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, at Cincinnati could be a conference elimination game for both teams.
Right.
I think that's a huge matchup.
That's the key to our win. That's the key to us
you have to
winning
force
out.
it into that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's just watch the carnage. Enjoy the carnage.
And then Cincinnati, if you're schedule watching them, I mean, that's not an easy game for them either, right? But they're home against Baylor this week, and then they're at Utah, and then home against Arizona, which is not as easy of a game.
Do we think Baylor or TCU has any fight left in them to win one of those type games? Like either one of those teams to go beat someone, like to kind of do the old late 20 teens Texas Tech where like in the end this isn't going to be a great season, but there's going to be this one game where we like everything's going to fall our way. Baylor or TCU could help us, but
Somebody asked us on Optimum Game Day Live if Baylor was 6, which they're 4-3 right now, but if they were 6-6 or 5-7, which the way they're playing is a very real possibility, if they would pull the trigger on Aranda, and I think he would be right back on the hot seat. But boy, he's been so good about getting on the hot seat and then immediately getting off the hot seat. But to answer your question,
I
say
message
that
board geniuses today. There's an exquisite Baylor one, and this was from this morning about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Baylor got front and center on the message board geniuses.
Nice. Okay, because the reason I bring that up is
somebody's firing on all cylinders.
You'll certainly have a very, very motivated Dave Aranda, regardless, right? And so I don't think Baylor will completely throw in the towel. I just think that they have all sorts of issues of trying to find wins, right?
Right.
And then again, I don't know what to think of TCU.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I get it. I'm not looking to you to have that answer, but I am. I'm just. It's just
You're
sort
just
of
throwing the
it out
question
there.
in the universe.
Are they one of those teams that's like we used to spend all of our time and energy on being really good offensively, and we would jump up and bite somebody once a year? Can either of those two teams bite one of these teams that we need them to bite here down the stretch?
So the contenders to me right now are, and yes, I know Houston is 6-1 before I say this, but I don't know, maybe they could help you somewhere. But BYU, Cincinnati, Arizona State, and then you are the 4 teams right now that I think will decide who is in Arlington. And so if you're like schedule watching of which schedule you would like the most from what we do or don't know about these teams, it might be Arizona State. I think I would take their schedule because they're home against Houston, and they are at Ames, but then they're home against West Virginia. They have Colorado, and they're home against Arizona.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying for sure they should be 5-0, but they've got a great shot now with a key tiebreaker to be the one that's on the other side.
Let's win out and play them in Arlington.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think winning out's critical. There are scenarios that could get us there with 2 losses, but those are way, way, way more lengthy and way more upset laden and way more dramatic than what we're talking about here. Let's just go win your last 5 games. I mean, these games 1, 4, and 5 shouldn't be quite as dramatic as games 2 and 3 in this stretch, but all you can do is prepare for what's in front of you.
Is it me, or did the defensive line look gassed in the second half?
Well, yeah, Bailey played 72 snaps the other day, so there's your answer. And I don't think it was just you. Coach McGuire spoke to that, and that was a function of a lot of things. I mean, they obviously didn't do enough to get themselves off the field when they had the chance. It starts there, but we also had an offense that pulled a number of 3-and-outs, especially early in that game.
I mean, when you're constantly facing 3rd and 8 or more,
and giving up a lot of them,
and getting off the field quickly, that played early on. You know, I'd said going into that game, I thought there was like 5 outcomes that could play out, and I thought, 4 or 5, and I thought, depending on if it's 4 or 5, there's either 3 or 4 where you end up winning, and the one was pretty much exactly how it played out. You had a redshirt freshman quarterback that I think at times looked like a redshirt freshman quarterback, but then you also had a lot of times where you just simply didn't set him up for success. You could go into individual play calls here and there. I know there's a big one on 4th and 6 that's a check to a speed option that I think is the biggest one that most people are upset with. But the entire game plan, starting with the first half, and then you never really corrected in the first half. And then when you can't find anything on top of it, just like mistakes compound upon mistakes, and all of that goes to, well, yeah, the defense is going to be gassed when they're out there for what feels like 75% of the game.
ASU converted 9 of 21 third downs and 1 of 2 fourth downs. And their possession time, 37 minutes. The Red Raiders had it for 22. And I mean, there's your story right there. Yeah. Yes, they were gassed. Yes, David Bailey probably he's most certainly played more snaps, and I'm just picking him out because that was the one I heard Coach McGuire mention.
Yeah.
72 snaps, man. That's just too many.
Cue the
not
AD
that he's
clip.
incapable, not that he's tough or whatever else, but fresh David Bailey and 72 snap David Bailey are two different guys, just as everybody is.
That sounds like a deodorant commercial. This is fresh David Bailey. This is not fresh David Bailey. More Tech Talk next.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk here in Double T 97.3. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brendan Riker behind the glass.
Did you really make that shot, Clint?
According to the camera not being able to turn all the way to the trash can, yes, 100%. And Gus didn't see it, so he can't confirm or deny. Don't look at the piece of trash that's over there on the floor. Let's go back to the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can hit us up there as well. We got this question on there. Could Tech have declined the illegal procedure penalty on the final Arizona State kickoff after they took the lead with 37 seconds left?
Yeah, I know that was some of the chatter on the radio broadcast. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, we asked Snead earlier.
Okay.
He said yes.
Okay.
Which is what...
Would that have put time back on the clock, or I guess it would have kept us from running?
Yeah, it would have kept you from because what did Cam Dickey end up running
right
off of? And I'm not throwing him under the bus. He was trying to make a play, but
think about it. That unit, that's special. I mean, I wonder about it, and it was a question that wasn't asked at media, and at the time, I'm thinking, well, really would have just preferred the offense get the ball with the full 33 seconds instead of 25. But you know who probably played the best quarter? Of all three units.
The special team set you out big time.
Yes, and we had the big kick return earlier that ran it out to the 50, and so I'm sure that they were going, all right, we got no timeouts and 33 seconds left, so let's probably max this thing out and give the kick return team a chance. That's the way I perceive that math to have taken place, rather than just fair catch it and start at the 25. Like at that point, you're rolling dice,
right?
And one of the dice that they chose to roll was probably, hey, let's make them kick this thing, because that guy showed a little explosiveness on the kick prior. Plus the two just that our special teams. I had a guy text me. We've had this conversation before. The voices that in the little groups. Loud fan text guy. And one of them texts, our special teams are no bueno at halftime. Because I think Mike had run one out and got tackled at the 20 or whatever. Special teams are the problem here. And then and so at the end of the game, I was like, hey, I'd like to thank you for for your speech to the special teams at halftime. Speech being the operative.
Thank you for texting Kenny Perry all your thoughts.
Exactly.
Get it together.
Letting him know your thoughts on their performance. He also sent another one after the game about all the different position groups that are, weren't as good as we thought we were, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, I'm going to go ahead and circle that too. I'll see you in Arlington. Send that to you. I'd like to thank you for your post-game speech to the team after Arizona, laying out all the mediocrity that you observed there, Coach.
Coach mediocrity.
Coach Mid.
That was
Coach Mid. way coach in air quotes. All right. And I also had a buddy that's like, off the train, the whole deal, like beginning of the fourth quarter, and then, it's over. We lost, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, remember my little speech the other day, Clint? I told you about the difference between those guys in red uniforms and all those people down there sidelines versus everyone else out here. Mm-hmm. It's the difference. Like, they have to believe. Mm-hmm. There's 25 seconds left in that game, and they're on their own. They're believing in a plan to do something. It may be far-fetched and all that stuff, but that's the difference between them and those of us up here who can turn off the TV or get up and walk out of the game or whatever, or just play crystal ball magician, a fortune teller guy. Well,
because I think
declare everything over.
I was with probably most people where obviously the defense gave you every single chance in the world to get the offense going consistently and kept that a very manageable score the whole time. But when you don't get it on the 4th and 6, it was like, okay, that felt like that was the have to have it here touchdown drive. And then still little did we know that the defense was still going to just give you every opportunity to win the game. And then, you do have to – this is where I think you have to give credit to Will Hammond. And from a young quarterback's perspective, who if it was game plan, drive-by-drive play calling, player decision-making, execution, everything that made the offense just a stink fest through 3 quarters, to be consistently running into a wall where things were not working and then find 2 big scores to give you a lead late. That's where I loved the mindset from Hammond.
Absolutely.
It was
the whole group.
Not that I didn't. Yeah, not that I didn't think that they didn't have that mindset, but still to see that in action was very encouraging. And then it doesn't all go down on 1 4th and 2, and in any I saw 1 or 2 people just like, oh, you got to make that stop. Like the defense was your A-graded unit the whole time, right? And yes, would you have liked to have maybe approached that 4th and 2 a little bit differently? Sure, but also if you don't break contain, this is where they're like, yeah, if you just do this, you win the game. Sure. But offensively, it was just so wonky the whole time, and then still to wind up with a lead at all on the road, Gus, from your redshirt freshman quarterback. I thought the negatives way outweighed the positives, but there were certainly some positives to take away.
Yeah, you also think about the play that you think about the fourth quarter drives. All 3 of them got to the red zone. Two of them were touchdowns, and the other one was the 4th and 6 thing. But so it really illuminates what you're saying, like the compete meter for these dudes. And this was something that was talked about in the press conference today. They said the coach's staff, like, what'd you learn about your team? Oh, they were getting after it till the final play. And so we can appreciate that. They had a chance to belly up at 19-7 and getting stuffed on 4th and goal, right?
Yeah.
And and there was and somebody did ask the question, rethinking kicking the field goal there. And Coach McGuire said at that point in time, the thought was we may not have enough possessions.
Well, what did you see from the offense earlier that didn't
Right.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I would love to have kicked the field goal, although
because there was nothing you'd seen encouraging from that you don't go, we have to do everything we can to come away
6.
with a touchdown here. This can't be a 3.
Was 7 minutes left in the game? Is that about right?
Yeah, I didn't question that. I didn't question the decision to go for it at all.
I didn't either. And then I'm sitting there 5+ minutes later in game time, and I'm thinking, I wish we would have kicked that field goal right there, but that was not a second guess.
Yeah.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Let's keep diving in. Clint, Gus, and Brennan, thanks for making us a part of your Monday. Playbook looked as though it was dialed back. Why let Hammond play?
Well, you got a bunch of run plays out of it, but I just think the the playbook looked like any other playbook early in the game, and we didn't execute worth a toot. And it was 2nd and 9 all day. Just we're behind the sticks a bunch early in that game, and I don't know. There was some conversation about I wish I hadn't called as many QB runs as I did.
Yeah, Leftwich said that today in his availability.
But then you and I just rewatched the fourth quarter, and I'm thinking, hey, much of that offense came on the QB run. So I don't like it from at that point it was desperation, but I don't like it from the standpoint of injured quarterbacks and such. But the fact is, I think all of this, and really not even words that we've said today, but I probably could have been the first thing out of my mouth. We controlled the line of scrimmage through the first 6 games of the season. We did not control the line of scrimmage in this game. I'm not saying there wasn't a whole lot of stalemate going on. There were points in which we controlled it, times in which they controlled it, etc. But this, by any measure, was the game in which we least just imposed our will at any point along the way. Now the beauty of it is we imposed our will at the end. When it was cutting time, and we ultimately took the lead. And we're going to sit here and talk all day about how the offense was floundered and did all that and blah blah blah, and offense handed the defense a 3-point lead with 2 minutes left.
To me, it's completely though still on the offense.
Oh, absolutely.
Even with taking a lead.
Yep.
And
played with our food.
And as far as the playbook, if anything, I think you ran a lot of similar things that you do with Baron Morton. Now, one, I think you were planning on breaking a lot more tackles. And Arizona State, after having a horrible week against Utah where they couldn't tackle anything, they tackled everything
and
against
Joey
you.
Said,
but
he said that was his compliment on the field to Dillingham.
But to me,
you guys tackled great today.
Yeah, to me the difference is you just kept trying to hammer the quarterback run game, and even when it wasn't working, it's like you took food out of your running backs' mouths. And I think this is what Coach Leftwich was saying, that that was on me, and something that Coach McGuire pointed to. You just can't have only 12 touches between Williams and Dickey.
Sure.
We just went off of a 3-week conversation of that's the best running back duo, or certainly seems like it, in the Big 12, and they didn't just have an overwhelming amount of success either when they did get their touches, but still it felt like you saw Devin Dampier the week before just do everything that he wanted running the ball, and you went, okay, Will Hammond, who at this point is a better runner than. Not that he doesn't have the arm talent, but he's been more successful in the run game than he has in the passing game from the limited times we've seen him. So I understand that part, but when you just keep hitting your head against the wall, that's where it was frustrating to watch in the first half through the third quarter as well. And they know this. So this is our first chance not only to see, okay, well, how do the players bounce back? Which again, you have Oklahoma State, which is just like. There's no such thing as a freebie in the Big 12, but if you're going to find something that's as close to a freebie as there is, it's this year's version of the Pokes. But you're also getting your first look. Okay, well, how does your offensive coordinator, how does your offensive staff for game planning, how do they bounce back after a very underwhelming day? And really, again, it shouldn't be this week that we find it out. It should be, okay, well, what do you do in Manhattan after that? They're not looking past it. They're not looking past the Pokes. Yeah. But that's something that, is also allowed to improve.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, yes, a staff can have a bad day too, or a bad week.
Yeah.
And they had one. They had a bad week.
There's plenty of information to be gained from that, and hopefully there's some pissed off for greatness that comes out of that. It's not worth a loss, but you can't turn back the clock, and so and it's not like they threw in the hat thinking, hey, well, let's get B here and then we'll all be pissed off for greatness. But I think this next 6 weeks, 7 weeks, so we got 4 games in an open week. 4 games then an open week. And that open week might serve us well if we're prepping for Arlington. That might be a good time for it, really, to get one last push of bumps and bruises healed up and whatnot, go play in West Virginia and then take it to Arlington. But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself.
All we heard about was the depth and roster construction. Sure didn't look like it on Saturday. So what happened to all the depth? Well, you still have your depth. I mean, defensively, yes, you played a bunch of snaps, but you also had Duda Banks come in. You also had Terrell Tillman come and not take garbage time snaps, because there were no garbage time snaps, obviously, in that game. I mean, you just had, which, by the way, Coach McGuire, during the tortilla portion of his media availability, like off the side, confirmed that Skylar Gill-Howard out for the regular season for sure, were his words. You just had one of your best defensive linemen go down, and you didn't miss a beat.
Right.
So, yes,
AJ
you
Holmes
still have depth.
Yeah, A.J. Holmes
the
batting
talent
down
level
passes.
is still there.
Yeah. Shoot ya. Yeah,
the snap count was more to do with your offense's inability to move the ball.
Absolutely.
Bobby Hot Dog said Clint especially likes.
I mean, if this wasn't a deep roster, you got your ass beat like 45 to 20. What did we score? 22. We got to be like 45-22, right?
Yeah. And if
in the
if
past,
the roster construction for the defense wasn't good with all of those snaps, Arizona State, if they would have lost that game, they would be having some of the boy, we left so much meat off the bone. The conversation we've had this year with your offense, with how many field goals they had to settle for. Now, the defense wasn't perfect, right? There was some things that got away from them too, but still, I thought you were headed for, Gus, the game that you had been kind of dreaming of, okay, when the offense is having a horrible day, and I don't know if you even meant like this bad,
right.
A horrible day, well, can you win
and
it
find
defensively?
A way to win.
Yeah, and
sure.
they did everything to keep you in that game.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.